In this video, I'm going to attempt to illustrate a couple of things. You'll see that on the left I have my Microsoft Word file opened, and on the right I have the Los Angeles Times open. Now I meant to start from the home page, so let me do that. So today happens to be February 13th, 2022. And this is relevant for completing a letter to the editor assignment. It also, in principle, contains the seeds for your opinion editorial piece or op-ed piece. So let me just begin by selecting an article. And in this case, I'll take this article called Supreme Court Blocks Biden's Vaccine Mandate for the Workplace, and I'll click on it. And now I want to pause that. And I come down here. Let's pretend like you've already read the article and there's something in there that you take issue with. Okay, now I'm going to switch over here to the Microsoft Word document. Again, we're just pretending like you've already read this article and you want to reply to it, to the editor. So here you would write, Dear Editor, and then you would give pertinent information in the very first line of your letter to the editor. So you might say well, let's see, we can indent that because we're going to probably single space it in our submission to the Los Angeles Times editorial staff. So on January 13th, 2022, David, let's see, now I'm making this up as I go along, so bear with me. David G. Savage, that's the author of the article, which you can see right here. He's a staff writer for the Los Angeles Times. So on January 13, 2022, David G. Savage in his article, and now I'm going to give the title of the article. So what was that title? It was Supreme Court Blocks Biden's Vaccine Mandate for the Workplace. So there I have the title. Claims that, well, so now what I'm doing is I'm trying to pinpoint the place in the article where I have an issue with the author of the article, right? So I don't have any issue with this, but I'm going to pretend that it's this sentence right here that I'm taking issue with. Now, I'm not sure if that'll copy effectively, and I can just insert it, copy and paste it over here in Microsoft Word, but I'm going to try, and I use the middle paste option because it coheres with my formatting. Okay, so wonderful. Look what happened. Now let's read the sentence again to make sure it's grammatically fluid. On January 13, 2022, David G. Savage, in his article, Supreme Court Blocks Biden's Vaccine Mandate for the Workplace, claims that this rule, once put into effect, is expected to cover about 17 million people working in healthcare, the administration said. Now, the next thing that I want to demonstrate is how to insert a hyperlink into Microsoft Word. So here I have the article up in the Los Angeles Times. So I go up to my web browser and I click, right click after it's highlighted blue. I copy that web link. And now I have stored, ready to paste in my mouse, if you will, the link that I want to hyperlink so that it'll go right to this article. So I'm going to come back over to Microsoft Word and I'm going to highlight the title of the article, just like that. See that? So now that I've used my mouse to highlight the article's title, just the title, not the quote marks or anything else, I'm going to come up here to insert, and then I'm going to say, I want to insert a link. And in particular, I'm going to take this link right here that has the global symbol or icon, click on that, and I get this little box. I forget what this box is called, but if you look carefully at this, in the text to display, it will tell you what's going to be hyperlinked. So I'm hyperlinking to the Los Angeles Times article. Now I go down here to the address in the lower part of this pop-up, and I make sure the cursor's in there, and I right click so I get the paste, and I paste that URL in there that I had taken from up here earlier. Okay, so now it's in there, and now all I have to do is hit OK, and you'll see what happens. Now in my letter to the editor, it is there's a hyperlink. Now if you don't like the underline there, which if you look around on the internet, you'll notice that the underlining is not normally included. What you can do is highlight it again and hit Control U twice. Control U twice, and that removes the underlining. Isn't that neat? And we leave the blue in there so that it's evident to the reader that it's been hyperspaced. Okay, so here I'm working on my letter. I will eventually double space this because this is going to serve as my academic submission. Now, of course, it's not enough just to quote the letter. I need to go on to say what I think is problematic about it. So let me make something up. However, there is a report that the administration actually saw through this smaller number of 17 million, and that it estimated that 20 million people actually, well, I could say 20 million people working in healthcare will actually be covered. Now, if I do that, and I say that there's a report, what I should do is I should highlight a report, and then I should hyperlink again from the internet over here to that report. Okay, so that's you giving evidence for the claim that you have made, which as careful or critical thinkers we always want to do. Okay, and so forth and so on. That gives you the basics of how to do this preliminary part. Now, I've already prepared this second tab, which says, what I did was in the web browser, I typed in how to submit a letter to the Los Angeles Times. It says here, submit a letter to the Los Angeles Times. So I used my browser effectively to answer my question. And then I also pre-prepared the actual location that I was instructed to go to if I want to submit a letter. Now pretend like I'm all done here, right? This is my letter. Then what I would do is I would highlight it on the left here, and then I would right click and I would copy it, and then I would come over here where it says your letter and I would paste it in, and then I would certainly go back and I would carefully make sure that it says exactly what I want it to say and that it's edited and formatted exactly as I want it to look. And then I would fill out all of these boxes here that I won't actually do now, but I would do that. And then I would also click here where it says, by submitting this form, I agree to the terms. And I will have read the guidelines. Notice that the guidelines are here. And so it tells you, for example, that letters typically run 150 words or less. Now, when you actually submit a letter academically to me to evaluate, I always try to check to make sure that you're within the limits, because The goal is to actually get your letter published so that we can celebrate your success. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Now, suppose that you filled all this out and you want evidence to provide me with. What you would do, what I do, and unfortunately, I don't think I can show you this on the screen, but I'm going to try to, is I would type down in the lower left of my PC, I would type in the word snipping, and then what comes up is something called the snipping tool. And the snipping tool is going to enable me to take a screenshot of what it is that I want to capture so I can submit it to the instructor, in this case, of course, me. So I don't know if you'll see this or not. I guess I'll know after I record this, but I'm saying I want to make a new picture. And then what I do is I come over here and I go, well, what do I really need in here? Probably the word letter to the editor and all this stuff below, including some of my text and so forth. So I do that, and now hopefully you'll be able to see what I have is I have a picture of what I am going to submit. Okay, and what I can do is I can save that any way I want. So in my case, I'm going to say something like 22/01/13, which is today's date, LA Times, letter to the editor number 1, because I'm thinking I'm using this for school, and then I'll put my name. You would put your name, right? So there's your evidence. And then you would save it to an appropriate place on your computer. And I'm going to put it under critical thinking. And there I have a picture. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that evidence that I just captured doesn't necessitate that I've actually sent it. So what I would do is after I took that picture, I would click submit, and then I would just go through that process again. And I would capture a second image. Now, what you can do in terms of your academic work is double space the text in your academic copy, but then down here, you can now insert those pictures. See, here's home in Microsoft Word, here's insert. I can go to pictures and I can say I want to get a picture from this device, and then I can go down to find that picture. I go to critical thinking, and then I just plug in here today's date, because I just saved it, 22/01/13, and I can search for that, and nothing matched my records because I'm in the wrong area. So let me go up to documents, and then critical thinking, and then try that again. And hopefully this time that will come up. There it is. And you would have two, one before and one after. And I insert that. And then, of course, I can adjust the size. I don't need it to be huge. So I can do that. Now look at there. We've got the letter to the editor. You can go ahead and double space this, your letter, for academic purposes so that I can comment on it. But then your evidence is right below it, right? And then I'm going to save this. And I'm going to do it for a way that would be appropriate to me. I'm going to save it as a critical thinking document, and I'm going to title it 22/01/13, letter to the editor, Mr. Fike, demonstration of evidence of submission. That's what I'm going to call this in case I need to use it again, right? And there we have it. Okay, so there's your letter. Of course, when you save it, you want to give it an appropriate file name, but now you'll be ready to upload it into Canvas. Okay, so I hope that you found this demonstration helpful. It seems cumbersome at first, but once you do it a time or two, you'll know how to do it. It'll become a permanent skill that you've learned in this course and that hopefully will transfer over not only into your other college courses, but much more practically. And really, the whole reason behind learning how to do this at all is so that you yourself can participate in public discourse. It's a thrilling thing to see your name actually published in a paper that has a largish readership, so that you know that potentially you're going to be read by thousands of people. And I've had that happen on a number of occasions, and it's really cool, and it really helps us to see the point of some of the academic work that we do.